Okay, when we talk about simplifying fractions, well, this skill is really the big daddy of them all, because combined with all the other skills that you have with fractions, once you get an answer, you're not done until you simplify it if needed. A couple other terms you might hear for simplifying fractions are reducing, I try not to use that, and fractions in their lowest terms. Okay, so I want to talk about simplifying first, and then how to simplify a fraction. Okay, first off, when I'm looking at simplifying, okay, I can look at a fraction in 8 parts. I have 8 fingers right here. I can look at that in 8ths, or I can look at it in 2 hands. Okay, so, oh, I have 8 fingers, but I have it in 2 hands. Which one is more simple? 2 hands. Okay, so if I want to, oh, my left hand is 4 out of 8 fingers, well, it's also 1 hand out of 2 hands, so 1/2. So we're just trying to make it more simple to understand by not breaking up our fraction, breaking up our whole into so many pieces. So if we can make that easier to see and to visualize, that's what simplifying does for us. And we want to get used to doing it for every answer if possible. Okay, so with simplifying, we have a fraction. Let's just start with an easy one, 20/25. Okay, so when we are simplifying, first thing, we want to find the greatest common factor. Okay, that's the first step. Greatest common factor. Find it. So if you remember how to find the greatest common factor, just GCF, find the F, then do the C, then the G. So the factors of 20, 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. And then of 25, 1 and 25 and 5. So, check. Now we find what's common, 1 and 5. Common ones, check. The greatest one is 5. Okay, so the greatest common factor of 20 and 25 is 5. So now I have the greatest common factor. Then step 2 when simplifying fractions is divide by the GCF. Sorry, divide by the GCF, the greatest common factor. Now when we divide fractions by the GCF, that means we divide the top and the bottom, the numerator and the denominator. So I have 20/25 divided by 5/5. Now I do 5/5 because I'm dividing the numerator and the denominator. 5/5 equals 1 whole. This is how I am simplifying it, not changing it, not changing its value, but just how I'm looking at it. So, yeah, sure, 20 out of 25 game pieces, let's simplify that and look at it a little easier. When we're multiplying or dividing fractions, when we're multiplying fractions and dividing like this, finding equivalent fractions or simplifying, straight across. Numerator divided by numerator, 20 divided by 5 equals 4. 25 divided by 5 equals 5. That way, we see that 20/25 is 4/5 when it is simplified. Let's do one more so that we can see that a little bit. Okay, so remember, we find the GCF and then we divide by the greatest common factor. Okay, let's do a little harder one, 27/36. So the first thing I do is find the GCF, 1 times 27 and 3 times 9. Okay, 1 times 36, 2 times 18, 3 times 12, 4 times 9, and 6 times 6. Okay, I found the factors. Common ones, 1, 3, and 9. Common, check. Greatest one is 9. So now I'm going to divide 27/36 by 9/9. Because if I divide the top by 9, I need to divide the bottom by 9. Because I'm not changing its value. Any number divided by 1 equals itself. I'm not changing the value, I'm just changing how we look at it. 27 divided by 9 equals 3. 36 divided by 9 equals 4. Therefore, 27/36 Still equals 3/4, but that is just simplified. So this lesson looks an awful lot like equivalent fractions because they're exactly the same thing. When we're simplifying, you just have a number and you have to know what to divide by. Equivalent fractions you can multiply by anything. 3/3, 17/17, it doesn't matter. When you divide to reduce your fraction or to get it to the lowest terms, you need to find a number that goes into both of these numbers. Preferably the biggest number that goes into it, because then your job's easier and you don't have to do it again and again. So find the greatest common factor of these two numbers and then divide both the numerator and the denominator by your greatest common factor, and that will get you your fraction in simplest terms.